Alright, we're going into game 3 here between TTF and Hendralisk on Shakuris Plateau. An old, steady standby map. A lot of people love this map. It makes for a lot of interesting gameplay. I think TTF should feel pretty good going into this with the, the 2-game advantage. So that gives him a little leeway to try some interesting stuff. We'll see what he goes for here.
Well, absolutely. With just that 2-game advantage makes TTF feel so comfortable. I mean, when you're up by that much, a lot of pressure's off you, but also it opens up little avenues for even little cheesy tactics if you were to try that. In a tournament setting, you expect a lot of straight-up, kind of strict, almost macro-esque games, which might catch someone off guard if they go for a quick cannon rush or just proxy pylon placement.
Now this, for TTF, it looks like he, again, is going for some sort of forge fast expand based on the pylon placement at his natural. And this natural, unlike the last few maps, is much easier to wall up. So I think he should feel pretty safe going for that on this map.
Just going for the quick scout. They're both going to... The probe's going to see the Zerg just before that Overlord hits the halfway point between the maps. Doesn't see anything going down yet. So interesting to see what he chooses to do next, whether it be a quick forge or if he doesn't do anything, maybe a Nexus first would be.
And there we go, yeah. Forge, pretty predictable on this map, but he could throw down the Nexus as well. He's pretty safe right now. He doesn't really have a lot to worry about. Hendralisk went for what looks like a 15 pool, or 14 or 15. I didn't actually see when it went down. Looked like a 15 pool, I think. And I think he'll try to go for some sort of 15 hatch, 16 hatch, once he gets some lings out to take care of that pesky probe in the base. Which is always a big threat. You know, just one little probe, this little guy.
That 5 damage pays for itself over time.
It really does.
Once upon a time, I did actually rank up a probe in a 2v2 game.
Ranked up a probe.
That needs to be an achievement, I think, in Heart of the Swarm. If you rank up a worker unit to 5 kills, there should be an entire tiering system. 5, 10, 15, 20, 25, and I think 100 would be the...
And I think at 100, I think the probe should gain some sort of invincibility.
Oh, absolutely.
Unkillable, basically.
I mean, same damage, but...
Same damage, of course, but you can't kill it. So if he's attacking your command center, you just have to deal with it.
Lift it off.
You've got to kill them.
Kind of Imba versus Terran in terms of the building lift off, but I'm sure David Kim will find a way to balance that out before release.
I'm sure. So Heart of the Swarm, invincible probes is what we're looking for. That would be pretty nice. So we have TTF. He threw down this expansion. Pretty predictable. He's got the cannon down. He's safe. Let's just see what he transitions to in here. Doesn't look like he's going for any sort of early pressure. So he has that 2-game advantage, but he's still taking it pretty easy. He's playing it pretty safe.
Looks like Hendralisk throwing down a third.
There we go.
It's not a bad idea at all, especially against this kind of passive way of playing that TTF's going for.
Yeah, certainly. And Hendralisk, I think once the Protoss puts down the second base, the Zerg feels a little bit of pressure to have to catch up, because if he doesn't throw down that third reasonably quickly, he's going to be behind, or he could fall to some 2-base pressure pretty easily, not having the economy or the unit production that he would want to hold off something. So he's got to take that risky third, and I think he's going to be able to hold off. I think he'll be able to get it up easily. I mean, TTF, there's no pressure in sight from him quite yet.
Hendralisk looking for just any sort of tech structures up here. Not a bad idea considering the Stargate pressure. I mean, the Cybernetics core isn't up yet, actually, so it's not an issue yet, but if you can run these lings around a little bit longer and keep them alive.
But even right now, he's denying mining. He's causing him just to, have to waste a little bit of probe time.
Absolutely. That Queen slowly clawing her way over there desperately.
Queens don't work out very much. They, they're not very quick.
They're juicers. Once they're on the creep, they're just incredible.
Yeah, they certainly are. We have one queen out, it looks like, so far, and another queen in production. And he's going to run it all the way over to the third. I actually kind of like that, because he can build the other 2 right at the bases.
Absolutely, that's very good. Like I said, very popular to do a Stargate pressure. Doesn't look like it's happening quite yet, but a quick Void Ray, if there's nothing to defend it there, even one Void Ray would be able to pick off this, unfortunately, and that would just be pretty significant against the Zerg's any sort of macro hopes.
Yep. Seems that Warp Gate is about almost halfway down, I suppose. Throwing down some gas for the Zerg. Okay, so we got some good saturation. We're getting there with the Protoss. He's looking okay. Hendralisk is supply blocked. I think he must have lost an Overlord. Yeah.
I think I did hear it get picked off there, perhaps by... Oh, there's the Stalker that must have taken it out. 1 kill.
He's feeling good. He's He's on Pride Rock up there, overlooking the whole base.
He's got that 1 kill boost. It's just a huge boost of confidence there for that stalker.
Okay, so Hendralisk is going for the roaches again. They haven't really worked out so well yet, quite yet, but I think this is earlier than he's gotten them in the past.
Absolutely, and just given the kind of passive way that TTF's doing this, just trying to macro up and get as much minerals and I guess gas as well before any of this sort of happens, roaches aren't a bad option. If you were to do like a heavy roach pressure at about 9 or 10 minutes, that will really crack this front wall if he isn't expecting it. I mean, the Immortals might bypass that unless he goes for something like Colossus play.
Got the Observer coming out first, which is always a smart decision. Get some scouting information. That Stalker now has 2 kills.
Feeling pretty good about himself.
He's feeling great. Zerg's speed, which is late, is on the way, I believe. Yeah, it's about halfway done. That's a bit of a late speed. Checking for the third up there. No third for TTF in sight quite yet.
I was concerned for a second. I thought that might be another secret base by Hendralisk coming up, but it's only a Zergling.
So we see right now Hendralisk is throwing down 3 more gateways. His +1 is about to finish. So I wonder if he's going to go for some sort of +1 warp gate timing.
Warp gate finish, yeah.
Yeah, it doesn't seem like it's going to be. It would be that strong if that's the case. He's got an Immortal on the way. Perhaps he's just teching up a little bit. We'll see what he happens to do with this. Twilight Council, there we go.
Yeah, I'm concerned. I'm curious more than anything to see what he does with that Twilight Council. Blink Stalker always strong against roaches in high numbers, but I don't know. I think he's got the Immortals there to mop up the roaches, so I think Blink Stalker might be a good move by him there.
Definitely a good decision. There are no, as far as I can see, no forward pylons here. Excuse me. So it doesn't look like he's gearing up to do any sort of, aggression. Maybe take out the third, which he could potentially do at this point. I don't see that happening. So, Blink, there you go. As you said, Blink is on the way. Definitely a good decision against all the roaches.
Going for that quick 4th base there. Now it looks, despite the 3-2 base deficiency there, it looks like they're pretty much tied up in mineral harvest for the most part. Workers still tied at about 56 for each of them. It looks like both players are just trying to macro up and get as much money and tech as possible.
And the Zerg's still coming out a little bit ahead on minerals because he has more mineral patches to mine from, so he can get them a little bit more efficiently as soon as Protoss gets that 3rd base up, which doesn't look like he's actually trying to do at this point. But then he can start transferring some of those as well. Still on, actually, you know what? I think his not Hive Tech, his Lair Tech is at the natural. Yeah, there we go.
Which is a good decision considering that this natural here is actually probably going to become the central part of his base. This ends up kind of being the weird outlier, very vulnerable to drops, warp prism play.
Certainly easy. Yeah, it's definitely easy to pick off that main later in the game. Observer just sitting on the outside of the creep, as we can see there.
Throwing down more gates and doing a heavy Immortal commitment here, which is good because right now, I don't know what TTF sees, but just given the roach composition he has now with he's seen with the Observer, just more Immortals the better.
Yeah. I'm sure he's actually pretty happy to see roaches at this point. Now he's got another upgrade coming. Is that +2? I can't actually see.
That's +2 for Protoss there.
Protoss. Okay, good. Okay. So I've got roach +1 melee coming down. So he's gonna hopefully. I guess he's gonna start getting into some lings pretty heavy here. Hydralisk then almost completed.
Now also, he's got roach speed already. He's going for tunneling claws.
And Burrow is already finished, so that will help greatly if he has a high sentry count.
If he takes out that Observer also.
Yeah, pesky Observers are always there, always present. You always want to assume there's an Observer there. At least check for them as well.
He's going to need to run away pretty quickly.
Yeah, that Scout Roach army is going to be
losing 2 there.
Stifled. Now, as you can see, Hendralisk on the production tab, he's actually going into unit mode big time. He's got a bunch of lings and roaches on the way.
Got a warp prism going here also.
That warp prism has nothing in it, so we can only assume he's going to use it for warping, actually. It's not dropping, it looks like. Wonderful force fields. There is nothing that Hendralisk could do about that. He could burrow underneath those force fields, but I don't think you want to burrow into that army.
Especially with that Observer there. I mean, roaches have very high health regen when they're underground. Oh, he doesn't even have the tunneling claws yet. Just finished.
Okay. The third certainly looks like it's going to go down pretty.
I kind of like this decision here, where he's trying to do some pressure. He knows that TTF is only on 1 base right now, or 2 bases.
I actually, that's an interesting decision. Yeah, it looks like I mean, that force is pretty big, but I guess he thinks he can take it out a bit later. 'Cause this looks a bit like base trade right now. He's trying to do as much damage as he possibly can, and I think he might be able to out DPS, or at least at the very least outspeed the Protoss.
Oh, absolutely.
And he can get back and defend more quickly than the Protoss can get back to home. So he's going to do a ton of damage here. And Hendralisk still has quite a bit of stuff going on. He's going to lose that fourth, no doubt about it. But he'll be back. He'll be on 2-to-1 bases, and I think TTF should be mined out at this point in the main.
Pretty close to it.
Close to it. So this is going to be a ton of damage from Hendralisk.
He's throwing up some infestors also, and a lot of spine crawlers, which I like because he can hold him at this natural.
At least delay him just a little bit. And if you notice, look at the
warp prism picking off one probe.
One probe. The supply count is favoring the Zerg pretty heavily right now. This is an interesting decision by Hendralisk, and it's actually paying off big time. I think he's going to be able to clean up this army pretty handily. Considering that TTF actually can't make any more units at this point. Not only is he going to be supply blocked momentarily, but he will have no production facilities or economy.
Meanwhile, here's the spine crawler defense force. Got these infestors if he can get some fungals off, which he's doing.
Nice blink there. I don't think in the end it's going to be enough. I really
he's pulling back. This is a good time to pull back here. He's already crippled this economy pretty well. He's crippled all the buildings.
Now, if you look in the midst of this battle, it looks like there's a warp prism in the top right.
Yep.
Dropping up one probe.
That's the emergency lift there.
Yeah. Let's see if he does anything with that probe. I doubt it. This should be GG any second now. I mean, he's going to be able. Those immortals will be. Yeah, they'll do a lot of damage, but the number of roaches here, and there's no sentries left, from what I could see. So he's not going to be able to block him from attacking anymore. So he should be able to wipe this out.
He gets a force field here. Nope, he missed the force field there. Not a whole lot of production going on for Protoss. Zerg still kind of trying to drone up in the midst of this. A lot of good trades going on here. Those immortals are going to fall pretty quickly.
Pretty quickly, yeah. With that many roaches, there's nothing you can do. Like I said, this should be GG any second here. I mean,
I don't know. TTF's throwing down a couple extra. He's putting up an extra forge.
He's trying.
But I just think it's a little bit too little, too late, especially with repowering these buildings and trying to get his economy going.
Would you look at that? The probe in the top right throws out a miss.
Good for him. He's a doer.
Yeah, he is indeed. That he's actually the one who sent in a request for the immortal probe in Heart of the Swarm. So
yeah, he's got it.
He's not going to die in this game. There's no doubt. So Hendralisk coming back to finish the job that he started earlier. There's nothing that TTF can do to defend this.
Taking out that cyber, very good decision there.
Yeah, no stalkers coming out anytime soon.
Meanwhile, Hendralisk is throwing down a spire.
Huh. I think he had. He might be worried that TTF has some. I would imagine some secret base somewhere that he doesn't know about. But if he knew how far ahead he was at this point, I think he would be wondering why there is no GG yet. And I actually feel the same way. I think this is as good as over. Generally, you'll see Protoss when they're in a panic situation, they will go for the panic Dark Templar, and hopefully it does a ton of damage, which sometimes works. But I don't think we're going to see that. I think we'll see this over in a second.
He's going for the I refuse to lose cannon play.
Yeah, the Great Wall of China cannon wall.
A lot of DPS there. I mean, he will be able to hold them. He's
certainly
Stargate.
Yeah.
But considering this high muta count, I just think it's a little bit too late there on that Stargate. Even if we were to get maybe 2 or 3 Void Rays or Phoenixes out.
Indeed.
He's still trying with this Warp Prism though.
Warp Prism taken in the probe. I think that probe was telling the other probes that the Warp Prism is kind of saving them. He's been helping out lately, so he's been spreading the word.
The Coast Guard Warp Prism there.
Yeah, it's definitely helping. So I think as soon as he sees these Mutalisks, he's going to say GG. I mean, he was over anyway, but now it's more over.
There's the GG.
There we go. Jumping into game 4 here momentarily.